Yeah, let's just put the dampener on it. Dum, chit, cat, chit, dum. Number one ballad snare that I have in my collection. It's the one I bring out for the ballads. It's just amazing. It's a kick-ass snare. Bram, bram. Okay, how's it going? I hope everybody is doing well and happy. So this week is going to be a bit different. It's not going to be a snare drum review because this has to be a little different. This is, I suppose, what I would call a tribute to what can only be described as an absolute classic snare drum. This is the first Vinnie Paul signature snare drum, and this was released by Pearl back in 2007. I think I picked this up in 2008. And at the time, this was Pearl's deepest snare drum that they had on offer. It was part of the Signature series, and it was coming in at 8 inches deep. So you had a 14-inch diameter and an 8-inch deep snare drum, and that's pretty deep. So if we look here at the actual skin, this is a snake skin wrap on the snare drum. Now, would I pick that out nowadays? Probably not, but you still have to admit, it's very, very cool, and it's very, very Vinnie Paul-esque. Now look at the lugs here. So what we have is the tube lugs, right? And they're finished off with these lovely spikes. And that goes all around for the whole 10 lugs that we have on the drum. So that'll bring us up to the hoops here. And what we can see engraved in the hoops are Pearl's Super Hoops. These are a very heavy hoop. And if you compare them to, say, like what's very popular now, the die-cast hoops, these will just give you a little bit more open sound if you put them on your drum kit. So let's have a look at the badge here. We've got a nice brass finish. Engraved, we have Pearl Signature series, then we've got Vinnie Paul Signature. And look at that cool little doodle that I assume Vinnie Paul did. And it's just a real nice touch on the snare drum. Do some straight ahead rock. I'm going to loosen the snare wires just a little, just to open it up a bit more. I think that's a little too loose, but let's have a look. In terms of sound, you would think with the big intimidating look that this snare drum has, that it's only suitable for rock and heavy metal. And you'd be right, it does rock, it does heavy metal, it does all that really well. But I've seen bands, like country bands play this snare drum, wedding bands that literally only play waltzes all night long use this snare drum. If you're looking for a ballad drum, then this is without a shadow of a doubt the best ballad drum I've ever played. So this was my go-to drum for years, and you can see here the throw-off right at the top where it's all rusted out from my sweaty fingers adjusting it so much at a gig. By the way, it's still attached to the original snare wires that came with it. It suits this drum very well, and there's been no problem. What are we, well over 10 years now of me using this drum. So why am I doing this tribute rather than doing, say, a snare drum review like I usually do? And it's because you can't buy this anymore new. You can only buy this on the second-hand market. I've had at least three offers on Instagram and YouTube of people wanting to buy this snare drum because it's you know, it's a real cool looking snare drum of the time and of Vinnie Paul, and two, because it's an absolute classic, great sounding snare drum that really works over an awful lot of genres and styles. So even after the Instagram and YouTube offers on this snare drum, I don't think I can ever sell it, simply because it's a very, very important snare drum to me, because this snare drum got me into what I would consider quality snare drums. So not accepting kind of the standard snare drum that came with the drum kit, realizing the difference. And I mean, this wasn't even an expensive snare drum. It was $400 when it was released. I think I got it from around 420 euros or something like that, well over 10 years ago. And to realize that when you spend a little bit of money on a snare drum, you appreciate that snare drum sound, you hear the difference, you realize that it's an important drum, it's one of the main drums that we play, and it should be an extension of our personality and how we play, and the style and the sound that we create. So please let me know down in the comment section if you have this. Maybe you have the new one that was released a couple of years ago from D-Drum. That was his last signature series. Let me know if anybody has that, if it's any good. And let me know the snare drum that kind of changed your life in snares, that, you know, when you got it you realized, hang on, I've got to start buying some quality snare drums. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comment section. Give me one of these, or give me one of these if you didn't like it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Guys, take it easy. See you next week. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Guys, hit me up on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, and if you like what you're seeing here today, you can see a lot more videos. Just click on any of them here on the screen.